A couple days ago, I asked you guys what you thought were the best free-to-play friendly, farmable, feasible units for World Arena in Summoner's War. Some of your ideas were terrible, but some of them were also good. So today we're doing part one of a two-part series of best farmable, free-to-play friendly units for World Arena. Today we are going to be covering all of the second awakened Nat 3s and 2s. Let's get it started with three units that are great for outspeeding your opponent. They have super fast base speeds, and if you are trying to take turn one and snipe your opponent before they snipe you, these are three solid picks. Number one is a Sheer. Not completely free to play because you have to actually summon him from an LD scroll, but at least he is a Nat 3. He's got 115 base speed, he's got attack gauge boost, and he's got a speed buff, which is going to increase the damage of things like Shimate and Leia, which you may be using to outspeed and cleave. Next up, we have Mina, the Water Marshal Cat. She's got 119 base speed. She can easily contest turn one. She also does multi-hits, big damage, enough to snipe out a squishy damage dealer on turn one. If that's not fast enough for you, 126 base speed Spectra has already seen tournament use against opponents that don't have will runes. Super easy to get him fast. The only caveat is if they have will runes, he's basically useless. So if you know your opponent doesn't have will runes and they're just trying to use broken sets to contest speed, you can come in with a Swift Spectra and obliterate them. Here's some other bruiser type units that are not necessarily anti-cleave specifically, they're just nice to have around. At one point, Miho was everywhere in RTA until the Onimushas came out, which just natively counter her, among some other things. But if you know your opponent is not bringing in any Onimushas, a Miho at the end of the draft is pretty toxic because there's really not much they can do about it if their entire team crits. Ever since the Water Werewolf was second awakened, he has been a solid pick for so many different areas of the game. He's still a solid pick. He doesn't necessarily fit into a specific anti-cleave unless you maybe run him on Swift to catch your opponent off guard and they're bringing in a cleave team. But he's just a solid unit, a solid efficient unit. Great base speed, super tanky. He provides speed buffs, crit resists, defense breaks, and heal blocks. He's just a great all-around unit. Another solid pick when your opponents are using area effect skills is Jubel the Dark Vagabond. This is a unit that will decrease the chances of him getting a critical hit and also increase the attack bar when he is attacked by non-critical hits. So this could, in theory, when your opponents do some AoE skills that can't avoid hitting him, they will attack him. He increases attack bar and can provoke with skill 2 against the next unit in line to move after that. So in theory, he could be a disruption unit. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. We actually saw this unintentionally the other day of someone was bringing in Ursa and did some pretty nasty damage. He's a tanky fire unit that also does AoE crowd control skills. He's actually a pretty solid unit just overall. Royd is a unit that was super overhyped when his second awakening first came out. People were saying he's triple S tier, he's insane, he's overpowered. I'm like, guys, calm down. He's good, he's strong, he's got two good passives, but super ridiculous, overpowered triple S tier, he's definitely not that. Please don't overhype him to this degree. And of course, his usage went down because he really wasn't ever triple S tier ridiculous. He's always been, well, he hasn't always been. Since the second awakening, he's been a solid unit overall. But I mean, Dominic and Oliver, if you need control, Oliver, if you need damage, Dominic, because Dominic doesn't really need the defense break. Royd is still a solid unit. If you are free to play, you don't, or budget, or you don't have those two units, Dominic and Oliver, Royd is still a solid pick in that instance. This list would not be complete if I did not put Lulu on here. Of course, she fell off in her usage because Riley came out. Riley does kind of the same stuff but can't be cooled down and also has attack power buff as well, so she's just stronger than Lulu. And also Lulu got a slight nerf to her skill 2 in a balance patch, but Lulu is still a solid unit. You can bring in, if you need double immunity, you can bring in Lulu and Riley together. So we talked about some of the more mid-range supports and bruisers. Let's now go back to some more fast, aggressive picks. Bernard, another solid pick for the same reason as Ashir. Bernard doesn't do any heals, but Bernard still does attack gauge boost, speed buff, and defense break, attack power break with skill 2, and also some pretty significant damage. You might be surprised with skill 1 if you put him on a damage build. Second Awakened Megan is basically the same as regular Awakened Megan with just a slight difference. Also, she's got a little better base stats, but she's not going to outspeed if you're trying to contest turn 1 like Ashir might, or Mina, or Spectra. However, she still is a good combination for trying to cleave at like low levels with Kaki, unless you have crazy ridiculous runes where you got like a plus 230 speed swift set, and you're like, no, I can cleave at high levels with the set I have. For a Nat 3, Kali does so much. Speed buff, attack power buff, invincibility for 2 turns, and then she also does a single target ignore defense with skill 2. She is one of the best units in the game, not even free to play, not free to play, second awaken, 3-star, doesn't even matter. She's one of the best units. Great speed, great stats. He's got the team up which reduces the allies' cooldowns, if you guys didn't, if maybe some new players didn't know that. And then he also has the ability to continue attacking, continue killing things after he's killed things the first time. Solid unit in early game, solid unit in end game. Cameron the Dark Pixie is a niche pick. She is good in place of Shungpung. Shungpung's obviously significantly better. That's why you really don't see Cameron the Dark Pixie. But if you don't have something like Shungpung or something else that increases the cooldowns and your opponents are bringing things in with long cooldowns, which really don't see that much nowadays because Oliver and Shungpung are already so prevalent. But if you are in that situation where you need something like that, Cameron can work. That's it for this one. Food for thought if you're going into RTA thinking you need all the Nat 5s in the world. I mean, they definitely help, don't get me wrong, but it's all about picking the right unit for the situation. Hope you guys enjoyed. I will see you as always in the next one.